Hi guys, welcome back to the garden. Another beautiful day. We're going to do our Sunday morning garden stroll, but today it's going to be a little bit different. Today I'd like to show you some things that we got to work on last week. We finally got some reprieve from the hot weather, right? So we've had cool temperatures last week. Right now, as I'm standing out here talking to you, we are at are we at 60? No, we're still in the 50s. We are 56 degrees right now. Can you believe it? 56 degrees. The low this morning was 51. And we will have lows in the 50s for up to the middle of this week. So up until Wednesday. And then we're going to start climbing back into the 60s and 70s for the low, with the highs into the upper 80s and 90s. But saying that to say, we got a week of cool temperatures that I really enjoyed. And it gave me the ability to get out here and to do some things that really needed to get done. All right, so as we walk through the garden, I'm going to show you everything that we were working on. And of course, you will get an update on the garden itself. All right, without further ado, let's get behind the camera as always and do what we want. Do what we do, people. All right, come on. As always, ooh, there's John setting the sprinklers. That's my baby. Um, do you notice that he's just always in the, oh boy, you gotta love him. I love him. All right, so we're on the messy patio. It is not as messy as it used to be. It is looking a lot healthier right now, a lot cleaner right now, right, compared to what it normally looks like. Right, our bubblegum petunias growing beautifully here in containers. This was a late season swap, and I'm happy that we swapped it out as it's given us color. All right, so oh dear, Jay just turned on the sprinkler where I want to show you something, so I'm going to have him turn that off so that I can take you over there and show you what I've been going on with. All right, but before we do, let's take a look. See, just a quick brush up on the plants right here in the back garden. Limelight hydrangeas in containers is still beautiful. Remember, these are the ones that started blooming almost 4 weeks later than the ones in the front. So we've got fresher blooms back here, which is cool. Okay. And I'm going to try to work my way. Oh boy, he's blocked me with the water. What should I do? All right, I'm going to walk around the other way. So let's take this tour from the other side. Is I don't want to walk through that cold. Look at these dahlias right here. Look at my dahlias, people. I have not deadheaded. This plant could have done better with a little bit of deadheading, but it's still beautiful. And this isn't the only one. Let me show you just another here real quick. But look at these. Look at these. Look at these. Let me get my shadow out of the way. Look at these. Wow. Isn't that a beautiful flower? That is gorgeous. And the coolest thing about these, I picked these bulbs up from Walmart, planted them late in the season. I think I put these guys in the ground in, it wasn't May. I think I put these guys in the ground in June. And look, I did not expect them to grow. They grew and flowered. Isn't it awesome? There's one more over there that's doing her thing. And there was a third one, but the third one didn't grow. So I got lucky with these two. But that is a gorgeous flower. All right, let's take you on through here, turning back from the dahlias. Princess Alexandra of Kent is still giving us a beautiful little love. Isn't she just gorgeous? And Thomas won't behave. Look at him. Thomas is still in bloom too. That is nice. All right. Okay, let me see. I'm going to look who's there again. All right, I guess you must just say good morning, baby. Say hi. It's like it's like every site I try to go to, he appears magically. Look at this, the poet's wife. Okay. Beautiful blooms from her. This blue, what's that? Tarp has something to do with what I've been doing. It is covering a lot of rocks. Ah, look at that, a whole pile of rocks. I moved these from the garden, and I'll show you from where this took most of my time. It was a lot of work, something that I will definitely not do again. And because of the amount of effort it took to actually get it out of the garden, I don't think I'll be adding rocks to any of my other beds. All right, I'm off rocks. Okay, this is we paused on Desdemona growing here in a container. I don't know if you remember that we transplanted this one from the ground to container earlier this spring. She has been growing well here. She's given us this is her fourth flush of roses so far. Right? She could do with a bit more of feed in the containers, but all in all, she did well. Okay? And there's another beauty right here across the drive. You saw this little fellow last week. This is the Kennedy rose. Okay? I'm using my fingers to block the sun from the lens. I do apologize if it pops into the view. It pops into view every now and again. But look at this one. This is the peace rose. Oh my goodness. The peace rose, she decided to give us the most beautiful blooms right here at the end of the season. Oh man, when the roses do this, they just make me want to add more. Look at this. Oh, she is a beautiful and absolutely gorgeous rose. So I'm thinking I need to add more of the hybrid tea roses to the garden. They flower more reliably, is that the word? At the end of the season versus the David Austin roses. And there are few DA roses that will give me the end of season blooms. For example, Munstead Wood will do it, Darcy will do it. Who's that? Olivia. Olivia will sometimes give me some love. But the hybrid tea roses, oh, the hybrid tea roses. You can't beat them. End of season color. Can't beat them any at all. Right. So let's update you now on some changes that we made. You see this limelight hydrangea right here? This one as well as the one that sat on the opposite side, they are now on the driveway because what we're going to do is right here. We are going to replace the limelights with some evergreen interest in this section. For the evergreen, I'm thinking that I'd like to use these guys. Right? These little giant arborvitaes grow 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. You have seen them in the back garden. They're gorgeous. They're carefree. They're trouble free. They're worry free. Once they get established, you don't even have to water them, right? So perfect for a gardener like me. They are going to fill. Do you see where the annuals are? Right around the bay, the purple prints. The plant is going to get that big, right, in terms of the width and as tall as she is right now in terms of the height. So it's going to be just a nice big round ball right here. I'm not 100% sure of what I'm supposed to do on the front. I know I want it to be a quiet space in the garden, meaning somewhere that is not covered in flowers and blooms, but quiet in terms of just structure and evergreen and maybe topiary interest. I'm just not quite sure how I want to or how I'm going to lay that out, right? But here is the second one right here. The interesting thing is when I went in, because we were going to go ahead and get it planted a few days ago, but when we went in, believe it or not, guys, the soil was so dry and it was so hard that we pulled back and we decided that, all right, we'll let this wait for just a bit, right? A good show of rain, just water the soil a bit so that it becomes more flexible, and more diggable. Because it was like we were going down through rocks, and that was a feat. It even made me think, hey, I wonder if I should just go ahead and put this evergreen in a container and grow them in containers right here, because that would have been way easier than having to dig that soil. Right, so still a thought, still an option in terms of container and putting them in containers. The only drawback there is that I don't think we're going to get to the height, and not to the height, to the width that I'd like. If you notice the ones on the outside of the fence, and I'll try to see if I can pop up a photo. Those have been growing in bottomless containers now for 3 years, and they're still really small and compact, versus the ones that are in the garden now for 4 years planted in ground. They are huge, right? They are that 4 feet wide growth span right now. So something to think about. All right, guys. So this brings us to the rose walk. Now, on the rose walk, all that gravel that you're seeing on the driveway, it was removed from here. It was removed from the plantings of the emerald green arborvitaes. All right. Why did I have to remove the gravel first of all? It was because the gravel, we started to get a lot of grass and what's that? Grass and weeds growing in the gravel bed. And interestingly enough, as I removed the gravel, between the gravel and the landscape fabric was a lot of soil. Hey, I can't tell you where the soil came from, but there was a lot of buildup of soil, I guess, over time in terms of debris and dust and so on. It all accumulated. So it was becoming too much of a happy place for the weeds. So we went ahead and removed all of that gravel. And I'm going to leave the beds gravel free for now because I would like to leave these areas open for planting. I think it would be so cool to do something different in the space, right? Good planting ground is rare. It's really awesome to find it. And I'm thinking I'd like to come in. Ooh, should I tease you or should I keep it as a surprise? And I'll tell you about what I'm thinking. So I'm thinking I want to come in here with some spring annuals and then summer and follow that up with summer annuals as well. All right. I think it's gonna look cute. I don't know. I think it might look cute. We will see how it works. Right. All right, guys. So here we are at the other section where we went to work, right? Right here, we had a knockout rose that needed to be removed. I had attempted to remove it a season ago, and I was unable to because the plant basically was planted in just all rocks, right? So I let it grow for another season, and she grew. But the sad thing was, and I'll try to put pictures up there, is that she wasn't growing well into form because 80 or 90% of the plant was just dead canes, right? Just all dead growth. And the growth that she was sending up came up on very skinny canes that they were having a hard time hardening off. So we went ahead and we took her out. So I now have a clean slate right here. It was a challenge to move her again because of all of those rocks. I worked on it for about an hour. I kid you not. I worked for it for about an hour on my own. And then I had to go and ask John to help me to see if we could just get her out together because she was stuck in there, right? So he took our loppers and he had the shovel and we were just cutting and pulling. And finally, we got that root ball out of the ground, which is a good thing. Right. So, but now, all that being said, we've got this space where we are now thinking about what we want to plant. The awesome thing is that it's going to be able to mirror the rest of the garden space on the opposite side. We want to plant identical things in both beds so that when you view the garden from a distance, you're looking at repetition, which helps us to look more formal and cohesive, right? So options for this spot, maybe a hydrangea because we have them, right? We could pop some hydrangeas in here. I'm thinking some really beautiful. I've fallen in love with the edge of night hibiscus. Some beautiful hibiscus in front to hide this little thing right there. I don't know, but we do have some options that we could definitely explore. All right. Yeah. So look at us, people. So that is, and this that right there, that's me teasing you with the smell of Elizabeth. She was smelling so good that day. All right, but this is where we are. That is where we are for this week. We got a few things done that I'm very proud of. This is, oh, look, this is an example of the little giant arborvitae. Do you see how big it is? You know, you can't see how big it is unless I put myself right there. Let me give you um, I'm going to put the camera on the stand and then I'm going to stand beside her so that you can actually get a scale of how big that plant is. She's huge. They're huge, right? So being planted right there in the front, I think should really, if they own the space like they do right here, it should look really, really good. All right, let me position the camera. Give me just a second. Are you seeing her? Give me a minute. Let me see if I can. All right, so yeah, so that's the little giant arborvitae, and I'm going to go behind her so that you can see how absolutely huge these guys get. And remember, I'm 5 feet tall, okay? Right? We are standing on the same level. Do you see me? Tall, beautiful, and look, my arms can't go all the way around her. Oh my goodness, right? Nice, fat, beautiful, gorgeous, gorgeous plant. It keeps the same nice rounded shape. I don't have to prune this one. Let me tell you, that's a good thing because you guys know I can't trim anything to save my life, right? So this is good. I think it's always, what's that word? When you're planting something new, you're trying to create a new space. There's always a lot of apprehension and uncertainty, if that's the word. But I think they will work there. Can you just picture this really big mound of green just right there on the front? I think it will work. I'm looking at the one little plant that it is right now, and I'm saying, oh, it looks so odd to just have a little thing there. But this is what she will become in a couple seasons. This little one that you're looking at is 4 years old. Yeah, gorgeous, right? Gorgeous. All right, so look, I'm in the sun. Quick 5 minute walk through the garden. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me see if there's anything I want to show you. I got Scepter de Als is blooming, and should I show you her blooms before we go? Do you want to see it? Yeah, of course. Come on. Let's end with a rose in bloom. We love roses here. Okay. Let's go look at a rose and on a pretty bloom. Come on. All right, so here she is, Scepted Als from David Austin Roses. Very, look at it, very airy, leggy. Um, and that is how she's grown for me every season in terms of the end of the season. Yeah, she's one that has is very leggy. But that's all right because her blooms, let me show you. Her blooms are just spectacular. Look at that. Oh, beautiful rose. And the fragrance on this one is out of this world. It's a strong myrrh fragrance, but it's not terribly intoxicating. Okay, look at that. Oh, all right. All right, so we'll go ahead and we will end it here. Thank you so much for joining me for another beautiful day in the garden, guys. As always, you are awesome. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.